Hey, what's up everybody? Commander Radix here, bringing you another episode of Transformers Lore. As I promised in the last episode of Transformers Lore, we're going to be covering Transformers Revelation, a sort of follow-up on the Transformers Asians trilogy that starts up the IDW Hasbro universe. By the way, the Asian trilogy seems to have been some of the better received videos of my Transformers Lore series, and I'm glad you guys seem to be liking them. Transformers Revelation is a bit of an odd story, as it's not actually a mini-series, but told in 4 spotlights: Spotlight Cyclonus, Spotlight Hardhead, Spotlight Double Dealer, and Spotlight Sideswipe. This is because the writer Simon Furman was relegated to telling his story in this form, while IDW made preparations for the event known as All Hail Megatron. But for the time being, let's focus on Revelation. I should also note that Revelation requires you to know about the events from various other stories I haven't covered at the time of recording, like Stormbringer or the spotlights for RC, Hot Rod, and so on, but I will do my best to tell you what you need to know. So, without any further ado, let's get into this. The IDW Hasbro Universe, 2006. The planet Cybertron is dark and abandoned, following an incident in which the evil Decepticon scientist Thunderwing, under the influence of his failed pretender process, destroyed Cybertron's atmosphere and irradiated the planet. However, one being is scouting out Cybertron, a purple jet known as Cyclonus. It breaks Cyclonus' heart to see Cybertron in the condition it's in, and he slowly builds up rage. He knows that someone must pay for what they did to his precious homeworld. See, Cyclonus was not present when the Autobot-Decepticon War broke out. He was a crew member on the ancient ship known as the Ark-1, a ship captained by Nova Prime, and included a plethora of other ancient heroes, like Galvatron and the scientist Geaxis. However, the Ark-1 got lost in the Benzuli Expanse and ended up in a strange realm called the Dead Universe. Now unable to be separated from the Dead Universe for too long a time, Cyclonus should be focusing on his mission, but he needs to let out his rage. The first ship Cyclonus sees is the Ark-12, carrying a group of Autobots under Hound, who are en route to the Autobot prison of Garrus 9 to investigate a break-in that happened in Spotlight RC. Sideswipe is upset that they're going to Garrus 9 since he wants to go to Earth to help find his mentor and brother Sunstreaker. Suddenly, Cyclonus begins his attack. The Ark-12 manages to destroy Cyclonus, but it's not long before he reforms thanks to the immortal powers of the Dead Universe. Meanwhile, out in space, the duly appointed enforcer of the Tyrus Accord, Ultra Magnus, is looking through some data on the Monstructor 6 provided to him by Optimus Prime before he gets the SOS call from the Ark-12. Ultra Magnus moves in to assist the Ark-12. At Garrus 9, Prowl and Optimus Prime, having just retreated from Earth, meet with Fortress Maximus, the warden of Garrus 9, as well as Jetfire, who was stationed there as well. They note that they have found a Decepticon who appears to have been strung up, tortured, and beheaded after the battle over the Monstructor 6. Prowl asks Jetfire and Fortress Maximus if they have any idea why that would be, and the two nervously look at each other. The reason is they deployed RC, a wanted criminal who deeply hated Geaxis, to go out and find the Monstructor 6 after they had been stolen because they were created by Geaxis. RC, a murder-crazy psychopath, is on the hunt, as she was behind the mutilated body. On the Ark-32, Nightbeat is studying the death of Kraken and his early mission to Gorlam Prime that he just does not remember. Nightbeat calls up Hardhead and says that he needs his help. Meanwhile, the fight at the Ark-12 begins to go to the Autobots' favor as Ultra Magnus arrives. Cyclonus realizes that he shouldn't have exposed himself with the expansion so close at hand and flies away. As Cyclonus is an unknown rogue Cybertronian, Ultra Magnus, as the enforcer of the Tyrus Accord, pursues him. Sideswipe pushes Hound to pursue Cyclonus as well. On the Decepticon platform Zuska, RC is interrogating a Decepticon demanding to know where Banzaitron is, as his Decepticon Secret Service took the Monstructor 6. Her torture methods are successful as the Decepticon fesses up. Cyclonus arrives on the dead world of Karada Vaz, as he reflects that he doesn't have much longer before he needs to return to the Dead Universe, or else he will crumble to dust. This is in contrast to his comrade Galvatron, who seems to be able to stay in the living universe much longer. He needs to complete his mission, which is to activate a mysterious device called a Nega core to help the dead universe bleed into the living universe and absorb it of its energies. He also is required to activate a transformer that Galvatron had abducted earlier to use as a guardian for the Nega core. While Cyclonus activates the Nega core, he is hesitant to activate the Guardian as he hates the Guardian for what it did to Cybertron. He comes to the conclusion that nobody will come looking for the Nega core in such an isolated area like Karada Vaz, and decides to not activate the Guardian, leaving the cave. However, he finds Ultra Magnus, Hound, and the other soldiers from the Arc-12 standing there waiting for him. A fight breaks out and Cyclonus decides to activate the Guardian after all, launching his hand like a rocket into the cave to activate the Guardian. The Autobots are confused for a moment before Ultra Magnus realizes what Cyclonus has done. He yells the name of Thunderwing as the massive living weapon strikes from the cave, pushing the startled Autobots back. In the confusion, Cyclonus flies away. With Thunderwing there, the Autobots will not be able to enter the cave to access the Nega core. Ultra Magnus sends a tracker after Cyclonus, noting that this is much bigger than he thought. Ultra Magnus reports the incident to Optimus Prime on the Arc-32, and Optimus says he's expected a big threat ever since his out-of-body experience in Brasnia. He believes that it's all connected to Nova Prime in the Arc-1. He orders the Autobots to keep watch on Karada Vaz and deploys the Wreckers, while he has Jetfire try to figure out what Thunderwing is guarding. Meanwhile, in the Benzuli Expanse, the expansion has begun as the Arc-1 crew of Nemesis Prime, G-Axis, Straxus, Galvatron, and Grindcore emerge into the living world to wreak havoc. On the Arc-32, Nightbeat meets with Hardhead and tells him that he wants to go to Gorlam Prime to investigate why his memories are gone. He elaborates that if someone has messed with his memories, that means he's been compromised. He asks Hardhead that if he loses control for even an instant, Hardhead should kill him. Hardhead bluntly replies, sure. The two go to Gorlam Prime where they notice that life on Gorlam Prime seems frozen. Nightbeat reflects that the inhabitants have become even more mechanical since he's last been here, and that they're frozen because they're in a chrysalis-like state. They went from organic to techno-organic, and will eventually become identical to the Cybertronians. They make their way to the excavation site that Nightbeat's records say he went to, before they fall under attack from the Micromasters. The two jump down to Gorlam Prime's underbelly to avoid the Micromasters, who are attacking Hardhead but not Nightbeat. At Garrus 9, Optimus Prime and Prowl watch the Wreckers fight Thunderwing on Karada Vaz. Prowl remarks that this is suicide, but Prime says that if they didn't try, they wouldn't be the Wreckers. Jetfire reports an energy spike in Thunderwing's cave, as well as the fact that Omega Supreme has been consulted on the situation, identifying Cyclonus and Galvatron for the Autobots as crew members from the Arc-1. Optimus Prime decides to start their investigation in the Benzuli Expanse, where the Arc-1 went missing. In the hull of the Arc-1, G-Axis meets with Nemesis Prime and reports that all the Negacores and Guardians have been activated, but Cyclonus drew attention to himself, and now the Autobots are onto their scheme, and Nightbeat is investigating on Gorlam Prime. Nemesis Prime says he can trust the Guardians to defend the Negacores, but Nightbeat is a problem, as he needs to kill Optimus Prime, or else Nemesis Prime himself will have to involve himself in the affairs of the living universe. He orders G-Axis to see to the Nightbeat situation. On Gorlam Prime, Nightbeat and Hardhead arrive at excavation site number 4, where they find a mysterious liquid portal. They continue to retreat from the Micromasters until Nightbeat suddenly jolts as he falls under the complete mental control of G-Axis, pointing his gun up against Hardhead's head. G-Axis explains that he has been experimenting on Gorlam Prime to make the inhabitants subservient people, a template for the future of the universe, as the universe will fall to the dead universe. 2 universes will be fused into one, maintained by the Cybertronian elite, and Hardhead has no place in it. G-Axis shoots at Hardhead at point-blank range, but Hardhead's head is, well, hard, and the blast does nothing. A fight breaks out and Hardhead slowly retreats towards the Dead Universe portal. G-Axis explains that only death lays that way, and Hardhead takes the chance to shoot Nightbeat through the head. Nightbeat's body falls down flat at the edge of the portal, dead and without G-Axis's influence. As the Micromasters open fire, Hardhead retreats further and further into the Dead Universe portal, becoming, like the Arc 1 crew, tied to the Dead Universe for his survival, and on to his next step in evolution. Geaxis gets a headache from the incident and reports to Nemesis Prime that Nightbeat is dead. Nemesis Prime had hoped Nightbeat would have killed Optimus Prime, but now for the expansion to succeed, Nemesis Prime must go to personally kill Optimus. In the Orcaba cluster, RC hunts down the Decepticons and discovers Bonsaitron and his forces devastated. She sees the injured Bonsaitron and asks what happened, learning that the Arc 1 faction had come for them and had stolen Monstructor. The two agree to work together to find Monstructor, as RC still wants revenge on Geaxis. In the Benzuli Expanse, a group of Autobots under Cloudraker in the Mirror Manifold report to Jetfire that there is a massive portal that is destroying the universe around it. Jetfire develops a plan, deciding to use Bludgeon's flawed Pretender technology to shield the Autobots from the Dead Universe to infiltrate it. Jetfire takes this plan to Prime, which Prime is hesitant to consent to, given that the Pretender process made Thunderwing insane and Bludgeon brain-dead. However, Jetfire vows to perfect the process, and Prime reluctantly orders him to do so. Searchlight then reports to Prime that Dealer is calling, suggesting the Autobots find the Magnificence, the seemingly magical artifact that can answer any question, to answer the many questions the Autobots have on the situation. Dealer arrives in Tampa, Florida, where he finds Hot Rod fresh after defeating a Machination Headmaster unit on his search for Sunstreaker, though he's no closer to finding the missing Autobot, and Dealer suggests using the Magnificence on that as well. Hot Rod seems a bit odd during their conversation, often talking about the Battle of KOALAS that lost him his whole team except for Dealer in their quest for the Magnificence. Dealer stresses that if Hot Rod can't trust Dealer, then who can he trust? Hot Rod agrees to take Dealer to where he hid the Magnificence. In the Jiangxi province of China, Straxus and Grindcore arrive to begin drilling for Ore 13 as their energy source for the expansion, as Ore 13 had been left behind by Geoxis' student Shockwave. They also plan on building a space bridge, an advanced technology that only Geoxis knows how to artificially build, to help transport Energon across the various points for the expansion. In Garrus 9, Optimus Prime senses that Nemesis Prime has arrived, infiltrating Garrus 9. Fortress Maximus deploys his forces, but Nemesis Prime simply kills them with his touch. Optimus tells Maximus to call off his troops as he knows he must face Nemesis Prime himself one-on-one. In the Benzuli Expanse, Galvatron and Cyclonus are patrolling to keep away any Autobot force investigating the expansion, and they discover Cloudraker's forces in the Mirror Manifold. Meanwhile, the Nightbird is on its way to the Benzuli Expanse, carrying the Technobots who Jetfire has perfecting the Pretender process. As Jetfire thinks about how Bludgeon failed to use the Pretender process correctly, he remembers that Bludgeon used a device called an Axis Cradle to control Thunderwing in Transformers Stormbringer. Jetfire plans on using the Axis Cradle to gain control of Thunderwing. On KOALAS, Dealer learns that Hot Rod hid the Magnificence on the very planet they had stolen it from. Dealer is frustrated, which confuses Hot Rod. Dealer vows to kill Hot Rod after he acquires the Magnificence for the Decepticons as they go by the Omega Bunker, where they had originally stolen the Magnificence. In the sub-level of Garrus 9, Optimus and Nemesis Prime stand off. Nemesis Prime reveals to Optimus that he has a mysterious force known as the Heart of Darkness with him, a sort of anti-matrix that was provided to him by the sentient force at work inside the Dead Universe. In reality, it is the Heart of Darkness that has manipulated Nova Prime into serving the Dead Universe's will. Nemesis Prime knows that it is the destiny of the Dead Universe to destroy the living universe, but first, he must kill Optimus Prime. Dealer and Hot Rod are climbing a pillar on KOALAS to get to the Magnificence. As they climb, Hot Rod reflects on some questions he wants to ask the Magnificence, such as why the Decepticons killed all his forces but threw Dealer into prison. Why did their new electro-capped holomatter power cell just happen to explode at a critical moment? Who tipped the Decepticons to the heist? How did the Decepticons know how to crack the fresh codes they were using? As Hot Rod asks these questions, Dealer feels uneasy. The two finally reach the top to find the Magnificence. Dealer tells Hot Rod to ask the Magnificence something, getting Hot Rod in the perfect position to shoot him in the back. He begins to put pressure onto the trigger, thinking about how, instead of giving the Magnificence to the Decepticon Secret Service, he could use it to become omnipotent. But Hot Rod bluntly asks the Magnificence, "Did Dealer betray us?" And the device immediately replies, "Yes." Before Dealer can fire, Hot Rod turns around and shoots Dealer, sending the Autobot trader tumbling to his death. Hot Rod spends some time interrogating the Magnificence before reporting to Ultra Magnus the situation. The device in Karata Vaz is a Nega core, and there are 3 of them, with one on Roton and another on the 4th moon of Bull. Ultra Magnus quietly remarks that Bull was where the stellar cartography was, where he had first arrested RC for her murderous pursuit of G-Axis. Each Negacore is protected by a Guardian that is being mentally controlled by G-Axis via a neural implant. Thunderwing, Monstructor, and Sixshot. The Negacores are accelerating the effects of the expanding portal in the Benzulia expanse to speed up the expansion. Earth is being mined for Ore-13 for energy, and all of this is being shared through a space bridge network. Gorlam Prime, with its Dead Universe portal, is being used as a central command hub for Nemesis Prime's faction. Now the Autobots need to find their weak link. Jetfire begins to use the Axis Cradle to override G-Axis' control on Thunderwing. In order to stop Jetfire, G-Axis takes control of a secret 4th Reserve Guardian, Bludgeon. Bludgeon is sent to kill Jetfire. The Autobots begin their countermeasures against Nemesis Prime's forces with the ARC-12 crew deployed to Earth in Jiangxi. Sideswipe is finally on Earth, joining the fight against Grindcore and Straxus, alongside Fortress Maximus, to secure the space bridge. Meanwhile, the Mirror Manifold's crew are taken into the Nightbird before Cyclonus can kill them. On the Nightbird, the Technobots provide Cloudraker's forces with new Pretender armor. They don this armor, and the Autobot Pretenders deploy to take on Cyclonus. With Jetfire overriding Thunderwing, the Wreckers are able to infiltrate the cave and take hold of the Negacore. Bludgeon breaks into Garrus 9. Meanwhile, Optimus swears to stop Nemesis Prime during their battle, while Galvatron watches in the shadows, conspiring to overthrow Nemesis Prime, so that he might have power for himself. On Earth, when the Autobots take control of the space bridge, suddenly Autobot forces can deploy across the universe in search of the Negacores. With fronts open everywhere, G-Axis has trouble controlling all 4 Guardians at once. When Bludgeon swings his sword to kill Jetfire in the Axis Cradle, he stomps mid-swing as G-Axis is distracted. The Autobot Pretenders blow up Cyclonus before they enter the Dead Universe. Soon, the Autobots are removing the Negacores, while RC is given information by the Autobots as to where G-Axis is. Cut to G-Axis panicking as everything is falling apart. Suddenly, RC arrives via Space Bridge. Finally, she can get her revenge. In Garrus 9, Galvatron shoots Nemesis Prime in the back at the most opportune moment. Nemesis Prime falls dead while the Heart of Darkness jumps from Nemesis Prime to Optimus Prime, slowly corrupting him. Galvatron presents to Optimus a choice. He can fling himself into the nearby solar pool, killing himself before the Heart of Darkness can corrupt Optimus, or he could give the Heart of Darkness to Galvatron. Galvatron explains that he felt the Dead Universe speaking to him as well, and he believes that it is his destiny to lead the expansion, not Nova Prime. Optimus reaches out to Galvatron, passing the Heart of Darkness to him. Galvatron is happy at this outcome before Prime grabs Galvatron's arm and slings him into the solar pool. Galvatron screams as he is annihilated by the pool. The Pretenders take the removed Negacores into the Dead Universe and flee before the opening to the Dead Universe closes, ending the expansion. On Gorlam Prime, RC is slaughtering her way to G-Axis, killing Micromasters left and right. G-Axis flees to the Dead Universe pool, but Hardhead suddenly emerges, blocking him off. And so, RC beheads G-Axis. Optimus looks over the body of Nova Prime, feeling doubt in himself given how the Prime lineage he once respected has been corrupted, while Jetfire arrives with Bludgeon's sword a bit too late to join in the fight. On Earth, Straxus and Grindcore fall dead, having been severed from the Dead Universe. Sideswipe, feeling like he has proven himself, finally feels at peace as he orbital bounces up to the ARC-12, not looking back. Which is kinda strange since, your brother is still missing, Sideswipe. Did you forget about that? On Gorlam Prime, RC and Hardhead reflect that G-Axis can't stay dead, as he will simply reform over and over thanks to the Dead Universe powers. So, RC decides that she's okay with staying here and killing G-Axis over and over again, forever and ever, in an endless cycle where she can get her revenge forever. As time goes on, the people of Gorlam Prime emerge from their chrysalis state as creatures very similar to the Cybertronians. They even begin to call Gorlam Prime Cybertron, forgetting the name of Gorlam Prime. The Autobots have no time to investigate the birth of this new Cybertron, as new threats will emerge, such as the rise of the Machination, Megatron's all-out assault across the galaxy, and the return of Shockwave. However, they believe that they will never have to deal with the dead universe again. However, much later, the hand of Galvatron reaches out of the solar pool in Garrus 9. And that's going to wrap up today's episode of Transformers Lore. I hope you enjoyed. The next major story in the IDW universe would be Maximum Dinobots, before we get into All Hail Megatron. So keep an eye out for that video coming hopefully soon. Subscribe to the channel for more nerdy content, follow me on social media, and consider becoming a patron if you want to see this channel continue. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Huge thanks to our patrons, including this month's $10 plus patron Josh Adkins. Check out the description for more patrons and more info about how you can receive a shout out here.